Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, we head to Montreal in Canada for what is set to be a flat-out slipstream fest around this particular circuit. Hello everyone and welcome along to the JP Broadcasting Network as you join once again myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and James Parfitt, your commentary team, as we'll be taking you through what is going to be happening over the next 31 racing laps around this particular track. Now, more to the point, there is some housekeeping, so we can give you a bit of an update after what has been happening over the first 4 rounds so far. But more to the point, we have a new challenger, and when you look at it, it's going to be the case of, with regards to the previous results at Jerez. Last week, we saw Elliott Court take his second win of the season, and more to the point, he also took pole position, netting him a total amount of 31 points ahead of Adam Merchant and JT Smeaton, who this time did make it to the end of the top 3 and also the end of the race itself, with Tim Perry, Gabriel Hopp, Christian Jasper, Jeff Groff, Anthony Zitch, Frankie Brzezowski and Max Voorhees rounding out the top 10. Likes of Nathan C., Frankie Arvello, Joel Peguero, Jake Katz, Joshua Benjamin, and the rest of the field had their fair share of trials and tribulations, which means that coming into the drivers' standings in this beginning part of the second half of the season, Adam Merchant now has a lead of 11 points over JT Smeaton. Tim Perry rounds out the top 3 on 70 points. Gabriel Hopp fourth on 66, with Elliott Court and Carson Keane tied on 61 apiece. Jeff Groff and Braden Carroll also tied for 7th equal, 60 points apiece, with Frankie Arvello, Anthony Zitch rounding out the top 10. With the top 10 being covered by 44 points at this halfway point of the championship season. Joshua Benjamin and Nick Dornick equal on 43 points, 11th equal at the moment, ahead of Joel Peguero, with Jake Katz, Frankie Brzezowski rounding out the top 15. Brian Long, Max Voorhees, Christian Jasper, Nathan C. and Eamon Hake round out the top 20 in the standings overall. Christopher Sears, Seth MacFarlane, Blake Toe, Bryce Benton, Nodibit ML and Matthew Short, all having scored points so far this season. Dirty Mike and the boys continue to lead the way in the Simpleton Cup standings for the teams, ahead of FNG Racing on 105. The pair of Perry and Voorhees in max altitude now round out the top 3 on 103 points, with Go Squadra, Platino Power SRT, Canberra Sim Sports, SR4S, Halo Tracks Toyota, Torta Racing, Rush Hour Racing, and Gilles rounding out the 11 teams taking part. And with that in mind, we are nearly at the halfway point of our fifth qualifying session out of 8 so far. So let's welcome back into the booth a very big good morning. Well, I wouldn't call it good morning to James Parfitt. JP, welcome back in the booth. And yeah, Montreal, it's a circuit that some people like, some people don't like.
I don't like this circuit. I think it's the second time I've been here already today. Second time you've been here. I watched GR86s. You watched open wheelers. And now we've got big brothers of them little open wheelers we worked earlier. I think open wheelers go better around here than any other car. I think that sticking anything on there, like the GR86s, the lap times were like 1 minute 54s in the open wheelers, 1 minute 18s. It's an open wheelers car. It's an open wheelers track. I think you put anything else here, it's too long, and it just don't go well. I don't particularly like the circuit. There's no real reason, Alex, to be honest. It's just one of them where I sit back and think, I don't like this.
As in, meh.
Yeah, as in,
sort of.
yeah, it's just, you can have great racing, but it's so limited at times as well. And I just think that it's just not up there with my band of circuits that I think would be good.
Well, completely understandable. I mean, it's a track that I do actually like. I mean, funnily enough, person who was in the booth with me last time out, Hamish Monroe. Hamish, welcome in chat. I know in Australia it's I think it's probably about 11 in the morning or something like that at the moment. But in qualifying, well, the battle lines are being drawn again with Adam Merchant, JT Smeaton, and Elliot Court rounding out the top three in this qualifying session. They've all got a 10-minute session to take part in, but they've got a maximum of 4 laps to put their best foot forward here, and Adam Merchant looking to secure another pole position. This could be a potential of 4 out of 5 so far this season. The only person, I think, if I remember correctly, Elliot Court's the only person, apart from Adam Merchant so far, James, that has managed to take a pole position, and he did that last time out last week.
Yeah, he's driven really well, Elliot, since he's come into the series. So it'll be interesting to see how far up the tables he can go, to be blatantly honest. Hamish says Imsa would go hard here. No, it's a Formula
It's a
One.
single-seater track.
Yeah,
It's a single-seater track.
Formula One open wheel. Put
Yeah.
one here. GT3s, GTPs, anything like that. It's just not going to work. It would be too messy, and I think it's a open circuit, isn't it? It's a street Grand Prix circuit. It's kind of a hybrid of the both kind of genres of circuits that we've seen previously, and I think it is mainly open wheel that will go here. I don't think anything else would successfully be here as well. Messy equals good. No, I don't know. I don't think so, but there we go. I think going forward, though, this could be an interesting one. We've got basically about 3 minutes left of qualifying, and at the moment, it is looking like Adam Merchant's going to take pole position.
Yeah, and that'll put him on 90 points as we run on board with the number 4. And, well, JT Smeaton has gone purple in Sector 2. Merchant, the absolute best for opening sector. Personal best in sector number 2. Elliot Court won't be able to be promoted any higher than 3rd. He'll line up alongside Gabriel Hopp. Carson Keane and Felipe Sarkis round out the top 6 at the moment.
Sorry. Adam Merchant has got a big snap coming out the final chicane out of 13 and 14 and nearly hit the wall of champions. So it was nearly in it.
He was nearly in it to bin it, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah. So here we are with Braden Carroll. Braden didn't really have a good run. A lot of drivers were in the battle, let's say pretty much battle scarred after last time out at Jerez. But here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, we're going to see the push to pass, I think, exhausted by pretty much every single driver. And the tow round here is on a par with Monza as well, when you think about it.
I think that's the thing. If they can run the push to pass from the hairpin through 13 and 14 and right the way down into turn 1, the rest of the defense becomes quite easy. In between, you've got 3 and 4, 5, 6 and 7, 9 and 10, I think it is, and they're all defendable. But it's as you come out of that hairpin and the run up through 13, 14 and out the other side, that's where you're going to need to defend that with that PCP. And I think a lot of the guys and girls in here will probably learn that and know that, and hopefully should be able to defend with it, because the rest of the track, in hindsight to it, is fairly straightforward to be able to defend. Put your car in the right position, they can't get through. Coming out of that hairpin, you are literally a sitting duck all the way up to that final chicane, through the final chicane, all the way round down to turn 1. So we'll have to keep an eye out and see how these get on. This is going to be a fight. I'd expect it to get feisty the final 5 to 8 laps.
I nearly got scared with what Carson Keane posted in the Discord, where it's got the person opening the door with a cup of coffee going, "Bonjour." Well, we are on Carson and Nick's home turf, let's not forget. Braden, that were the Wall of Champions, definitely claiming its first high-profile victim. Braden just walloping the sausage curb coming through turns 12 and 13, and that was all she wrote. And wallop, and that has concluded qualifying. One driver who hasn't set a lap time, our good friend Mr. Brian Long. His first 3 laps were all disallowed. But Ahead of 31 laps of racing here in Montreal, here is your grid. Adam Merchant, for the 4th time out of 5, takes his... oh, Brian's just gone... I'm here, by the way. I just hit the wall 4 times. On pace for an 18.9. Well, Merchant starts from pole position. Smeaton alongside on the front row with Court and Hop on row 2. Carson Keane and Felipe Sarkis rounding out row 3 with Tim Perry and Joshua Benjamin row 4. Braden Carroll and Frankie Arvelo round out the top 10. Nathan C. and Frankie Brzezowski row 6. Then we turn the page on the grid and head to row 7 with Nick Dvornik and Christian Jasper occupying those spots, with Bryce Benton and Chris Sears rounding out row 8. Max Voorhees and Eamon Hake round out row 9, with Anthony Zitch and Brian Long completing the top 20. Brian's already posted a few statements in chat saying this is going to be a fight. I expect it to get feisty in the final 5 to 8 laps. I don't think you're half wrong there, Brian, at all. But we are waiting for a couple of other drivers. And as we have said this multiple times over the course of the season, JP, the P2P is going to prove to be crucial, like it's been all the way through the first half of this winter season.
Agreed. And as I said, it's going to be used as a defence. It's got to be used as a defence coming out the hairpin. But lights coming on.
So the 5 red lights start to ignite here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. The lights are out, and the second half of the Sim Racing for Simpletons winter season for 2025 is underway. And a good start by our top 3. A little bit of a lock-up there from Adam Merchant coming out of turn number 2, and he gave the opportunity to JT Smeaton to try and put one up the inside of him, but not on that particular occasion. Looks like Gabriel Hopp trying to keep Carson Keane at bay as they come through in towards turns 3, well, into turns 5 and 6 here at the second of the 4 chicanes here at Montreal. And everyone's starting to, keep it nice and clean. Merchant and Smeaton, just give you a little bit of a heads up. Just keep it a little bit further away from the walls, please, because I think you might give yourself kittens.
I think so. They've got to rely on the fact that they've got to try and keep off that wall scenario. But this is where we're going to see the first run now coming out. What's going to be the story? What's going to be the situation? Who's going to be holding on to what here? Tim Perry, Eamon Hake and Christian Jasper look like they've all had drama. No push to pass being used by JT this early on. I got a funny feeling there was a check-up in this hairpin, which is going to have caused this problem. Not for Tim Perry, however.
That's going to be for Braden Carroll. Oh dear, he stacked it at the Wall of Champions, and what happens here? He dive bombs! Oh dear, and he goes straight to the side of Tim at the hairpin, of all places. Mamma mia. And Braden Carroll sustained damage. Nathan C is in the pit lane. Tim Perry in the pit lane. Eamon Hake, it's all gone horribly. Pete Tong for a whole heap of drivers. Oh, that's going. Oh, that's boy.
Is that Eamon Hake who took a dive at him at the hairpin? No,
No, it's at the final chicane. Eamon Hake. Eamon Hake completely wrote off the Toro Rosso tribute livery band there. Nathan C, I think, got caught up. Here's Bryce Benton on board with him. He does the sensible thing and keeps out of the harm's way. Oh, but then he gets clobbered. And was that Anthony Zitch that hit?
9.
But then Tim right up the rear end of Tim. And then Eamon just... Oh my... I think Brian Long must be counting his chickens before they hatched, because he's now 11th, having started last without having set a lap time because he stacked it into the wall 4 times. But mamma mia is all I'm saying about that one. You're speechless, aren't you?
I don't really know what to say. I'm trying to not get myself in trouble. For the first time ever, I'm actually thinking before I speak. But it was a catalyst of errors. Carroll Perry sent him flying. Then Eamon Hake come through like an absolute banshee and got everything all Pete Tong. And watched the car on the outside. I'm not even sure where the attempt was or what the attempt was. he was trying to avoid people, I think, but then comes back, bounces off the wall, takes in somebody else behind him, and then more drama unfolds because then we have a big old dose of netcode coming in. Watch the pink, bang.
That's
goes
bright.
on. Yeah, that goes on, and it then just breaks about 3 or 4 cars, and they all end up in pit lane. It is the most bizarrest opening I think I've seen to a beginning of one of these races. And it just seems like everybody was all of a sudden like a Friday night gurner in a nightclub. It was just ridiculous.
It was like there was a punch-up happening whilst you're waiting for your doner kebab and chips before you get the taxi home.
Yeah, it was
That's
just unbelievable.
That's what it seemed like. Hamish has just thrown this in the chat. Are we now referring to that as the Wall of Wallies?
It could well be. I think that some of the people that were going to be doing well has unfortunately all gone wrong. And Brian Long and Chris Sears have now joined them in pit lane. Chris is if Long's going to hit him up the rear end here, or something's going to go on. Yep, he's going to flip him round.
Well, Chris getting T-boned by Brian there. I think. When myself and Hamish were talking about IGP Fun earlier on, we had some people trying to channel their inner Danny Rick, and they didn't lick the stamp in time, and that's a case in point of what we've seen here. But it has been rather smooth sailing for a lot of the drivers at the moment. I mean, the top 6 haven't changed position at all. Joshua Benjamin's now finding himself in 7th ahead of Frankie Arvello. Joshua Benjamin's just gone past Felipe Sarkis in the meantime at the turns 12 and 13. JT Smeaton has just lit the timesheets purple with the 119.194. Here is Christian Jasper. He's up 3 places, having qualified 14th. He's behind and closing in on Nick Dvornik. Don't try and do a Sergio Perez there, please, Christian. If anyone might. Yeah.
Oh, no, didn't get it.
Yeah.
But it's like it's been like a buy one, get one free on white powder in the SR4S Discord or something. It's just absolutely nuts.
I know, it's just incredibly, incredibly crazy. And the thing is that we're at that point in the season where the results really. Oh, what have we got here? Oh, it's Brian again. This is going to be his 2nd trip into pit lane, and oh no, Wall of Champions. It was like pinball wizardry. Hit the wall on the right, lose the front right upright, and then all of a sudden, bang, the nose is gone.
Yep. I don't really know what to say, Alex, to be blatantly honest with you. I'm a bit confused about what's been going on here. I think this is all of a sudden just dropped into a calamitous kind of scenario. I don't know if they're all watching TV at the same time, because we know everybody knows what race is on at the moment.
Yes.
But I can't, I don't know. It's really weird because I can't actually answer this. And yeah.
Yeah. I think there's going to be I would probably.
Oh, you're going back, bro.
Oh, Joshua Benjamin, you have. Oh, he's knackered the right rear on that car. That was very reminiscent of when what was it? Fernando Alonso got taken out by someone that was spinning in front of him. If anyone might remember the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, well, a lot of us do remember it because it's the longest ever Grand Prix in recorded history since Formula One started back in 1950. Over 4 hours because of a rain delay, and then multiple contretemps, multiple, as you like to say, James, ta-ta-tas, including between a pair of McLaren teammates, one of which who would not finish the race, but the other one would end up winning it by overtaking Sebastian Vettel on the last lap because Vettel decided to go off of the normal dry racing line at the point, let's say. But I think there is going to be a debrief after this, if I'm completely honest with you. There will be some talk of driving etiquette is probably the best way that I would put it, because we're now at that point in the season that if someone was to do something, let's say, completely left field, then that could make the difference between someone winning and someone losing a championship.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Was that when Hamilton hit Button or moved in front of Button, wasn't it?
Well, that was Well, Button and Hamilton was closest to the wall on the inside of the pit lane,
Hamilton
and then
moved over.
Button moved. Well, Hamilton and Button moved over, and then Hamilton moaned about Button saying, "Man, Jensen hit me." It's just like, well,
I think it was
the thing
Button on the radio, wasn't it? We turned around and went, "What is this man doing?"
Yes, exactly.
So,
yeah. But I think it's at the moment. Bryce Benton has retired. Chris Sears has retired. Brian has been in the pits on his marks for just over 3 minutes, and with the amount of extensive damage that car sustained, oh dearie me! In front, and that was Anthony Zitch, who was running the wonderful light chrome livery. He's gone deep chrome here, and that was coming out of turn 10 at the hairpin. He completely made a pig's ear of that one, and he's now all the way down in 17th position. But yeah, I think it's just a case of, this. I always thought that this would be the second highest speed circuit that we would have, but in comparison with, say, Monza, it's a very different animal to tame, if you will, especially when you're coming out of turn 2, you're coming out of turn 10. They're very tight corners to go negotiate your way through out of. And then, of course, with the fact that Monza, you've got a little bit more breathing space, whereas here at Montreal, the walls are so close. You make one slight wrong move by a couple of millimeters, it's going to pinball you, no matter which side of the track you're on, into the barriers on the other side. And if it was real life, it would frickin' hurt.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And the problem with that is this has now really spread everything out. This is the closest battle that we've got. Swole as Elliott Court comes through there sideways. On track with JT and Adam. Everybody else is seconds apart. If anything happens here, we're going to have a JP AG Dippling podcast going on. Because that one catalyst at the beginning has taken out 3 bottom ends of the field. You've got 2, 4, 6, 8 cars who have been through pit lane, now chasing their tails around the track. And it's all because of somebody missing a braking point and somebody trying to take off like a Concorde. It was just absolutely crazy. And now we're all spread out. And at the moment, JT's trying to stay with Adam. And Adam's just there going, yeah, see you later, mate. Take care. Adios.
Yeah, there is some discussion in the chat about drivers' approaches to certain corners, which we'll leave for them to have that discussion. Obviously, there will more than likely be some investigations into events that have been reported. Nevertheless, we still have this great battle now. Elliott Court had a bit of code brown and a clean up on aisle 3 just a moment ago, which now has put him a lengthy way away behind Adam Merchant and JT Smeaton, who are lying astern. The two rivals back at it again. They will remember what happened at Interlagos when they both came into contact. And so far, JT Smeaton has the fastest lap of the race, a 1:18.825. They are running pretty much within a tenth of a second of each other. Elliott Court is about 3 seconds back in P3. Gabriel Hopp and Carson Keane rounding out the top 5. So far in this race, we have lost Bryce Benton on the beginning of lap 2.
What is that? What the absolute do-rag was that?
I'm sorry, Braden Carroll, you don't move like that on a circuit.
Yeah,
I'm
what
afraid.
was that? This is just...
I don't know, was it the Muhammad Ali shuffle? Super Formula style?
Coming into a braking zone, which, you've got... Max the Magnet Voorhees this season has basically been attached to everything, and not necessarily even his fault. But you're trying to move, which is fine, and you want to break it. I get it, I really do. Like there you go, you can go across a couple of times, but then you've got to at least try and behave yourselves at some point. It's just, it's crazy driving that you end up then coming out going, whoa, he hit me. Well, what do you expect? I'll give you a knitting needle and you can weave me a jumper while you're going across the track so many times.
Yeah, and you'll be mowing it more times than everyone else will probably think that you're doing. So, at the minute, we have got 4 retirees. Lap 2, Bryce Benton, Brian Long, and Chris Sears. Lap 4, Eamon Hake, lap 7. Anthony Zitch still running down in 16th position. And, well, Brian hasn't really been out of the pits for the last nearly 8 minutes. So I think that's his race done and dusted. We're over a third distance, and at the meantime, the top 4, Merchant, Smeaton, Court and Harper, none of them have used their push to pass. Neither has Frankie Brzezowski. Neither has Braden Carroll or Max the Magnet Voorhees. I think you've made a nice little nickname for Max and the number 43 for max altitude. Hasn't been a good run for Tim Perry. He is nearly a lap down at the moment, but he is still there. There's still points available for 15th position, and of course both drivers from max altitude have got themselves in the sharp end of the Simpletons Cup battle. Meantime, the two Smeaton just clobbered the right rear. He clobbered the right rear. It was the slightest of glances, but that is not going to help JT Smeaton at all. The gap was about 2 tenths. It's now gone up by nearly thrice that amount. My goodness me, that was definitely a brace moment there for JT Smeaton. He was a very, very lucky boy.
Yeah. Oh, he could have broke then. He could have broke. There we go. But, yeah, it's now spread everybody out. And everybody's driving around on their Tods, trying to chase everyone. So, yeah, we're going to have to see how JT and Adam control this one.
Yeah, it's definitely not a case of ring of roses, a pocket full of posies here at Montreal. That's for damn sure, because we had the Smack the Pinata game, I think, earlier on, didn't we?
Yeah, we definitely did. But there was also more involved in this. I think there was something's happened here going down into the hairpin. So that's Eamon Haig in front of us. So Eamon's trying to avoid contact. Chris goes up the inside. They make contact. And then this leads into the flying Toro Rosso.
Well, the flying and then absolutely detonated Toro Rosso tribute band.
Yes, but I've also been aware that this, that there and that individual will no longer be returning.
Oh, dearie me, Hamish, don't start making me laugh at this time in the morning. But he has gone. The Raging Bull is a bit broken. More than broken, I think detonated on impact is probably the better terminology I would use, rather than using a particular Freudian slip. All I'm going to say is the first word is cluster.
Cluster. Foof.
Yeah. Beep. But I think, well, JT's now coming back, despite that slight clean-up on aisle 3 scare he had just a lap ago. He's closing in, and again, we're seeing like we did at Monza, where some drivers are not using that push to pass because the slipstream is just significantly mighty. We saw that when JT came out of turn 13 at the Wall of Champions last time, he scraped the right rear sidewall on the wall. It could have broken his car and probably put the upright into the rear wing, but he was so lucky. And I mean, it's just been a case of, yeah, you want to cross the T's, dot the I's, but it's more a case of, yeah, you want to be on the limit, but you just want to make sure that you don't cause a problem for yourself, because any further detriment for JT Smeaton means that Adam Merchant is going to start romping away with things. And we've still got 3 more rounds to go. After this, we've got Imola, Red Bull Ring and Zandvoort. It's the best 7 out of 8 scores. And if Adam does enough in this round, Imola and Red Bull Ring, he'll seal the title of winter season champion with just 1 race to go.
But what can anyone do about it?
Nothing at the moment because, look, Adams just
Pulling away.
checked out now.
Yeah, it's see you later. This is the thing. You can do only as what you can do, but the problem is when you've got a driver like Adam Merchant who hasn't got any challenges now up front due to dramatics that have been taking place on the beginning of the race, then you've only got to turn around and look at yourself in the mirror and go, who's there to blame apart from me? You know, we got nobody at the moment. You see it on the left-hand side. Nobody is near a second from anybody else. And this is just one issue that I think sometimes when things like that happens, it spreads everybody out. And if Merchant's got, what's he got? There's 16 laps to go. He could just carry on and roar away. This could be 10, 15 seconds by the end of the race.
Yeah, and that depends on, you know, the push-to-pass situation, which we talk about extensively every single time the Super Formulas go racing here on SR4S, James, that some drivers do use it. Some drivers, like we saw Elliott Court, deciding to use his push-to-pass the latest out of anybody at Jerez and managed to hold on despite the fact that Merchant and Smeaton were closing. And if there'd been maybe another... If Court had used his push-to-pass a little bit earlier in the race, he might have been a little bit more at the mercy of Merchant and Smeaton. Braden Carroll, in the meantime, trying to close in on Nick Dvornik, one of two Canadians in the league, running on home soil. The gap between them is about 4.5 tenths of a second. Nick Dvornik has used push-to-pass. Braden Carroll has not used any so far. And more to the point, Braden again just finding that he's getting that sweet spot with the slipstreaming. So it sort of overrides indirectly the use or the benefit of the push to pass for the driver behind. But if he wants that little bit more wallop coming out of the corners, you know, trying to put the power down and then start activating to the push to pass, then you can sense that Dvornik will be at the mercy of Braden Carroll, as long as Braden doesn't bin it like he did in qualifying through turn number 13. And now they're on their way on towards the far part of the circuit, and you can just see that Carroll is nice and clean on his inputs, and Dvornik's just made a bit of a howler going out of the corner, lighting up the rear tyres, back end steps out, and Braden Carroll's through for 11th place.
Job done. And you can see that coming because Dvornik was panicking. The body movement of the car, the overshooting of the corners, the motion of it was, oh my God, he's here. And next thing, it's, oh my God, I've lost a position. But now you might find that Dvornik might drive better because he's not under so much pressure. He's now the chaser. You know, he's now the lion. He can now chase down the gazelle. And hopefully he might drive a little bit more smoother and comfortable within his own remit. There's nothing worse than overdriving a car that you cannot control as Braden Carroll goes into pit lane. I do wonder whether or not that's off-track incidents already, because he was involved in some of the ones that went on at the beginning, is especially, was it this one, I think, where he was it him in behind Tim Perry? Number 9. Yeah, it was Braden Carroll.
Made a complete mess of Tim's rear end on the max altitude number 83. I mean, give Tim credit where credit is due with the good old British stiff upper lip and all that. He's still out there, as there's still points to be had. But I think I think it was the case that maybe Braden overstepped the mark with regards to track cuts, because they went through turns 5 and 6 at the second of the 4 chicanes, and I think his last track cut actually gave him an automatic drive-through penalty just through the amount of incursions he's had. And now he's quite a bit of a way behind a few of the drivers, including Nick Dvornik. Well, Braden Carroll is now behind Max the Magnet Voorhees. So Max has moved up into 12th place. He's 6.1 seconds ahead of Braden. So Braden's off-track excursion, which gave him a slam dunk drive-through penalty, has cost him dearly. Would have seen him running 11th, now sees him run 13th place. And even he didn't even finish the race at Jerez. So I think, well, now that we're past the halfway mark of this race, we're now on to lap 18. Well, we're closing on the end of lap 18 out of 31, which means after this, when Adam Merchant crosses the line, we'll have 12 to go. Things have calmed down after the shenanigans on the opening 2 to 3 laps, including lap 1, which by the end of it, coming out of the Wall of Champions, was just an absolute carambolage.
Yeah, it was like eBay carbon fiber corner, wasn't it? You know,
Wreckfest.
Yeah, you can go there. If that really happened in real life, you'd have parts of these cars on eBay to fuck within an hour. You know what I mean? Signed by the driver. Because I think the problem is this now has put this into a style of race where you almost see in the middle of Formula One, where you get excited for 10 laps and then everybody follows and fuel saves and doesn't even take anybody, and you're sitting there after your Sunday roast like a bear who just wants to sleep and, you know, put your feet up, and then you wake up for the last 10 laps. The problem is, Alex, me and you might be able to wake up for the last 10 laps, but what are we going to be staring at? Nothing any different. Why? Because nobody is closing in on anyone. You know, the lap times all around the 119s, 120s, so no gains coming from anybody at the moment. So what we're actually going to be looking at here is going to be no different to what we're looking at now. If I'm wrong, you know, chastise me as much as you want, but I can guarantee if we were to walk away now, come back, we would still be staring at the same order we are now.
Yeah, I think the only person that I've noticed doing any sort of significant inroading is Elliot Court, because last time round he just did the fastest lap of the race, 1:18.176, and he was half a second quicker than JT Smeaton. Gap between them is the only one that I see that is actually going down. Same can be said between Gabriel Hopp and Carson Keane, so it's mainly at the sharper end of the field where the drivers are a bit more... they're pushing a little bit, but they're not pushing too hard to the point of insanity where one wrong move, as Elliot Court found out nearly binning it in the Wall of Champions about 6 laps ago. He's now just gone, okay, steady yourself, breathe nice and deeply, hit your apexes, hit your braking points, and push to, like, say 90-95%. And what I mean by that, folks, is that you're not going 11 tenths. We're going to have a replay here. Oh, Braden Carroll again has now ended up in the pit lane. Oh, don't tell me. Wall of Champions. Oh, he spun. And, I think that's all she wrote there for Braden, because he rearranged the rear end. It's going to need more than just a buff out on that one.
Yes, sir. He be done, shall we say. He be done.
He be out of that, boy. Oh.
Yeah, he be out of that. He'd be better off in a tractor. To be blatantly honest, for Braden Carroll, that'd be another one out of pit lane. But, yeah. We'll see if Elliot can close up at the moment. Elliot last time around 1:18.28. JT 1:18.46. Adam Merchant fastest lap of the race 1:18.14. Hamish Monroe, the track charity auction got a good chunk of race used parts after the nuke at the Wall of Wallies.
The nuke at the wall. That's going to be a running gag. As soon as anyone does in Montreal go like, no, that's not the... if Hamish is in the comms box, you know it's going to be called, yeah, the Wall of Wallies, not the Wall of Champions.
And the problem is you can't really, you know, say anything against it, because it is literally what has unfortunately happened. We've got 10 laps to go, and for the last 19 of them, there's been not a lot of battles taking shape.
No, but there is a battle really starting to come into prominence. We mentioned it just a moment or two ago, that Elliot Court closing that gap to JT Smeaton, and everyone in the field has all used at least some push to pass here at Montreal, at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, named after the former Scuderia Ferrari driver who unfortunately passed away during a significant incident at the 1982 Belgian Grand Prix at Circuit Zolder. But Elliot's really, well, he's started to lose a bit of time because JT has been responding with the push to pass. So it's getting to that point now Will we see someone of the likes of Elliot Court, JT Smeaton or Adam Merchant decide, you know what, I'm going to whack on that push to pass for an entire lap and see how far away I can get?
I would see for JT, run it for as long as you can at the moment and open it up and see what gap you can get out. I don't think he's still got it pushed through the airpin. He hasn't at the moment. I'm expected to be recharging. Oh no, he hasn't even used it, to be fair. He's just managed to open up a little bit of a gap in the middle. Gaps back out to about 1.1 seconds. Carson Keane is slowly making inroads on Gabriel Hop. Not seen much of Carson due to the fact of him not being in the dramatics. He's got a fancy new livery this week. Very nice, dear sir.
Very patriotic there.
Very. Oh!
Carson.
He held it. He held it.
Yes, by the skin of his virtual underpants there. But still holding on to that 5th place. But he's within 1.2 seconds of Gabriel Hop. So I think there's still an opportunity here for Carson to start to close that gap. But corners and laps are fast running out for everybody out on circuit. But Elliot Court, again, has closed that gap. It's now just around about the 0.6 of a second mark between him and JT Smeaton. So, as they say, JP, never say never.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, eventually we will still have fights going on. He's just unfortunately taking a brewing point, isn't it? It's like sticking the cake in the oven. You're never going to get it to rise straight away. You've got to wait 25 minutes, or you know, in some people's cases, they wait and it still comes out like a mushy omelette. But they give it a go. So I think we might end up, you know, having a little bit of rise together.
Yeah, as in the souffle was a bit deflated before it even got there. Meantime, Elliot Court still closing on in to JT Smeaton. We're on lap 24 out of 31, so 7 to go after this. And Father Britt looking to do what he can to close that gap. Whether he can do that in the next few laps is anyone's guess, but more to the point, I think there's every opportunity for him to try and get that gap down. Carson Keane now has got the gap down between himself and Gabriel Hop in the battle for P4 to just under 1 second. So 2 real top tier battles coming to fruition as they are having to get past some back marker traffic. And well, I think now Elliot's got the opportunity of really putting the hammer down and trying to close that gap once again. But coming out of the hairpin, Elliot is on the push to pass. He's got about 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining of that push to pass. He's completely foot to the floor at high velocity at over 190 miles an hour. He's still got it deployed, and the back end steps out ever so slightly to the right, catches the slide, disengages the push to pass. I think he might have realised, I don't really want to do that, have the push to pass coming out of turn 13 because I nearly binned it.
Yeah, now JT should be replying. He knows he's now got the cooldown on Elliot, and he can see that Elliot's got the cooldown. So you can use it coming through this section, but then JT's got a decision to make. Is he going to be able to use it into 6 and 7? Or if I was him, I'd come out there hairpin and I'd blast all the way down to turn number 1.
I thought you were going to say, I would blast me horn at him. One of these single-seater cars don't have,
I nearly said something else, but I had to think about what I was going to say. And it may have been blast my A off. And then I realised that actually, you know, let's keep it PG.
Yes,
although
indeed,
it is after the 9 o'clock bullshit.
Yes, yes. There are times when even us in the commentary box, we can show our opinions, but then there are times when even we have to sort of say, if you say that, you might cross the line there. Meantime, someone who could be very much crossing the line and getting through for second position, Elliot Court has got that gap down to 4/10. Oh no, Christian Jasper. What's happened with Christian? This is going to be coming through into turns 12 and 13. Oh, locks up, bang, straight into the barrier. Oh, Christian.
Look, it's just bouncing.
it's like, front wing gymnastics, and there are 3 wheels on that wagon.
Yeah, he literally bounced up in the air, and I was waiting for it to come down. It was like you sent it up, and you're just standing there going, "Where'd it go?"
I know, it's incredibly crazy, but we are coming down to the last, well, including this one, 6 laps remaining, and Elliot Court is now trying to put the frighteners on JT Smeaton. You can sense there's a little bit of urgency with the number 23 from the UK versus the 45 from the US as they go into turn 10 at the hairpin. Could be an opportunity here. Now, are they both going to be on the push to pass? Waiting to see. Not engaged on Elliott's. Can't see that it's engaged on JT's either. So both of them opting to hold off for the meantime, because Elliott found that he was getting a lot of slipstream, the best part of over 85 miles an hour, coming down the backstretch, heading into turns 12 and 13. And that gap is now going to be 3 tenths and a bit going into turn number 2. Carson Keane now really on the back bumper, or the back diffuser, let's say, of Gabriel Hopp. That has really heated up there, and well, Carson Keane just took a mammoth amount of time out of Gabriel Hopp, but the gap has gone back up, it's come back down again, it's gone back up. It's like a pendulum swing at the moment. No one knows what's going to happen in the next 4 laps plus the one that we're currently on at the minute, but Adam Merchant looking very happily poised, let's say, for picking up what will be his 3rd win of the season, but also it will start off the second half of the winter season for sim racing for simpletons for him in the right way possible.
He could not have asked for a better start than what he's got now, because he's just had everything fall into place. When people battle, they battle. When they don't, they don't. And when they sit back and, cause drama, well, they caused enough of it. So let's see how this one goes. Whether or not Elliot Court's going to be able to try to get there or not is going to be a different story altogether.
Yeah, as they have been closing in. I think that was on Nathan C for the Rush Hour Racing team. As we affectionately originally knew them as Hello. Well, it was the Hello Kitty Brigade.
You named it.
I did.
Yes, you did.
Well, because it was the livery. The livery was catchy. So why not mention it?
Well, I agree with you. I do agree with you. It was a very Hello Kitty-based livery, wasn't it? If I remember correctly.
And it still is.
It actually still is, isn't it?
Yeah, it still is.
Oh, it is as well.
Yep.
Oh, blimey, Governor. Still pink.
Yep. Yep.
Look at that.
Still
sparkly.
Yep. Yes. But they are catching Nathan, and Nathan's going to be doing probably the right thing. You can see that he was making sure that he made a slower exit out of the hairpin, because he knows that both Smeaton and Court are going to catch him hand over fist. And good call there by Nathan to stay to the right-hand side of the back stretch in order for these two to quickly facilitate their way past him. But again, well, Smeaton was very close to that right rear sidewall, clipping the wall at the Wall of Champions there, as in the barriers, not the concrete wall just past it. And Elliot Court has just gone, right, let's put the pedal to the metal, shall we, boys? And he just put in the fastest lap of the race, 1:17.677, while Merchant pretty much at this moment in time has got a 5-second advantage over these two here. And it's going to be a case of who's going to pick up second. Will it be Smeaton? Will it be Court? There's only going to be 2 more. There's going to be, what are we on? Lap 29 out of 31. So after this, we're going to have 3 to go, and more to the point, who's going to be on their A game? Elliot Court seems to be wrestling with the back end of the number 23. Of course, with a lot of chicanes, the back end's going to feel a little bit sketchy from time to time, and then coming out of the hairpin here, this will be the perfect opportunity. If you can square it up nice and neatly, then start to use the push to pass. Smeaton's already using it. Court is waiting, but
how much
the thing is, left? I know he's just kept a hold of it, quite significantly, and that's why he's got the jump on Elliot. And Elliot, I don't think used any of that push to pass down the back stretch at all. And
Yep.
next time around, it will be one more lap to go. The white flag lap will be out, and Elliott Court has got to start hustling his car now.
Yeah. And at the moment, he isn't. Carson Keane is starting to hustle Gabriel Hop, however, as they've come back together and going back out, in and out, in and out. BTT, who are you normally in the race here? Let us know on that one. But it's going to be a battle for second and third, a battle for fourth and fifth. And we'll see who's going to come together and whether or not they're actually going to make this back together. Adam Merchant is on his way down to the casino.
I'm wondering if that's Bryce Benton, possibly.
Maybe.
There's a B and there's a T in there.
It could well be.
It could well be, but well, next time around, we're going to go on to the white flag lap here for round 5 out of 8 for the Simpletons. Sim Racing for Simpletons Super Formula winter season. Adam Merchant, the number 4, now gunning for his 3rd race victory out of 5 races so far. Out of the ones that we've completed so far, he's on the white flag lap, nice and hard on the brakes into turn 2, and not getting too much oppo there. JT Smeaton has, he's used quite a bit of his push to pass now. He is absolutely putting it to good use, and he's just put in the fastest lap of the race of 1:17.471. He's still on the push to pass. He's going to use that right up until the checkered, and Elliott's got 20 seconds more than him. But the way things stand, they're nearly halfway through the lap. JT could have done just enough to keep Elliott Court at bay for second on the podium.
He's only got to get around the hairpin. 52, 32. He's only got to get him around the hairpin. Under that push to pass with that still active, and now he can run. He'll be able to use this right the way through the checkered flag, to be honest, because it's not going to take him 20 seconds any more than it's going to take him 37. But I'll tell you, one man that is not going to need to use it is this one.
Well, 2 different winners as the winning streak returns for Adam Merchant here at Montreal in Canada. After 31 laps of racing, the number 4 extends his championship lead. JT Smeaton takes second. Elliott Court rounds out the top 3. And, well, the top 6 will stay as they were when they qualified. Gabriel Hop is going to hold on to 4th place ahead of local hero Dr. Carson Keane, who kept himself into 5th place. And then we see Max the Magnet Voorhees closing in on Nick Dvornik. Felipe Sarkis looks to be closing in, has crossed the line and has taken 6th position. Frankie Arvello now crosses the line and will take 7th, having started 10th on the grid. Ahead of Joshua Benjamin in 8th. Frankie Brzezowski will be next to cross the line, and he will do so now, finishing in P9. But here comes the run for the final spot in the top 10. Max the Magnet Voorhees versus Nick Dvornik. And Dvornik has got a lead of about 0.4 of a second as they make their way down towards turns 12 and 13 for the final time. Max is just holding on to that push to pass. Nick also has exhausted his push to pass. Max nearly puts it in the barriers. Nick will take 10th. Max will take 11th. Nathan C. will finish a lap down in 12th. Tim Perry, Christian Jasper and Anthony Zitch round out the top 15. And it was 15 runners and riders out of 20 that made it to the checkered flag. Merchant picks up his 3rd win of the season. JT Smeaton is not out of the championship hunt yet, finishing nearly 4.3 seconds behind Merchant in P2, with Elliott Court rounding out the top 3. Hop and Keane rounding out the top 5. Sarkis, Arvello, Benjamin Brzezowski and Dvornik round out the top 10. Max Voorhees being the last of the classified drivers on the same lap as the leaders, ahead of Nathan C., who finished a lap down, as did Tim Perry and Christian Jasper. The latter 2 being embroiled in the walls, as was Anthony Zitch, who finished 2 laps down in 15th. Braden Carroll retiring on lap number 19. Eamon Hake out after drama on lap 7, with Chris Sears, Brian Long and Bryce Benton being the last of your classified finishers. And Brian, unfortunately, his race coming to an abrupt end just as we completed our opening lap of the race. Well, folks, we're going to rattle through these post-race interviews. So first of all, let's bring in Elliot Court, our third place finisher.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Well, Elliot, third race, third podium in a row. Not quite the winner's step, but still a good haul of points.
Yeah, it was a good race. Nearly got JT at the end, but just ran out of laps. Yeah, I had no pace at the start, so I kind of from that point, like the mid-race point, I can keep up with their lap times, but at the start, I just had no pace. The car's a handful for some reason.
Yeah, also, whilst chasing down JT, you had a big old snap of the rear end, nearly sending you into the wall of champions. I think you nearly had to check your underwear after that one, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, I was pushing quite hard behind JT. I can't lie, especially in that last chicane. It's kind of can be a bit of a death trap if you take it too far, and I think I sort of just found the limit through there.
But still, three races in a row, 2 victories. Not quite the opportunity to go for pole position. It was going to be a bit difficult here at Montreal. How do you feel after 3 straight podiums, and then, of course, next week that's also going to be an interesting dynamic. How are you feeling at the moment for the rest of the season?
Pretty good. It's really competitive at the top. I mean, today, like, well done to JT and Adam. They were just so fast, I just couldn't keep up. But yeah, I mean, still 3 races to go, so anything can happen. Need a bit of luck on my side. I'm a bit behind in the points because I missed the first 2 rounds, but yeah, I'll try my best, and we'll see at the end of the season where I am.
Brilliant. Elliot, thanks for jumping in to the booth for the post-race interview show. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just everyone tuning into the broadcast. Obviously, you guys in the broadcasting booth. Everyone setting up the league. Brilliant job again. Really enjoyable. And yeah.
Thank you very much, Elliot. We'll see you next week for round 6, and hopefully you can give Adam and JT a little bit more to think about, right?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, anyway, see you next week,
Take care.
mate. It's been enjoyable.
Cheers. Okay, let's bring in JT Smeaton. JT, well, you got close to Adam in the early stages of the race, but things started to go a little bit backwards. But nevertheless, you're still in the championship hunt with 3 rounds to go. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty worn out. I mean, I was pushing like crazy those first 15 or so laps to try to stay within a second of Adam and get that slipstream, but fortunately I pushed my luck too far and I got a slowdown over one of the curves, and that cost me a ton of time.
But still, Adam knows that through obviously the previous 5 races that you're not, you're a competitor. You're going to keep on pushing right up until the check at every single race. I think he knows that you're not going to let him breathe that easily.
Yeah, I won't let him. I won't let it. Hopefully, I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I mean, this race I pushed as hard as I could, and unfortunately, just wasn't enough this time around. So I'll definitely give him a challenge. Won't let him sleep in the lead, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to start going on a good run if I want to close that gap.
We head back to Italy for round 6 next week on February 23rd to Imola. How do you fancy your chances there?
I think Imola will be definitely be an interesting one. I think it will be similar to Jerez in the aspect that it could be tricky to overtake, but I think the run going into turn 1 or turn 2, whatever it is, that long straight is going to be good for overtaking. But I think it's sort of similar to Montreal. I feel like the overtaking wasn't as good as the drivers expected, but yeah, I think it's qualifying is definitely going to be crucial there with all the corners and not many straights. But yeah, I haven't even bought the track yet, so I'm definitely gonna have to do that first before I give it a go.
Brilliant. Well, JT, thanks for jumping in and having a chat with us post race. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before you go?
Big shout out to Adam for always making me push to the limit. It's a even though it's tough to race against him, it's been a pleasure, and hopefully I can give him a bit of a challenge. But at the moment, he's doing everything he can to keep that championship lead.
Brilliant. JT, thanks for jumping in, and we'll see you next week for round 6 at Imola.
Right, we'll do Nick Dwornik before we do the winner.
Right, Nick Dvornik. Hello there. Welcome into the post-race interview show, and congratulations on a P10 finish.
Yeah, much appreciated. It was a wild P10. I don't know if what was mentioned or seen in the first lap, but to get to even an equation of that was quite an episodic feature for sure.
Yeah, and also the fact this being the home circuit for both yourself and Carson, it was were you guys pumped up to see that Montreal was on the calendar for this time?
Oh, absolutely. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is quite a heartfelt track for me. I feel that it kind of suits well to the limited driving style I've had in these Formula cars or any other kind of racing experience in that matter. So it's always fun to have going to a track where you've got a little more than a couple laps coming in.
Yeah, and we did see that Max Voorhees was closing you down, but you kept your foot stuck in, kept on the push to pass, and managed to grab that. I'm sure that fills you with a little bit of confidence, ready for Imola next time out next week.
Yeah, it's another track for sure that I'm hopeful in my performance. But yeah, I was very wow. The second to last lap, obviously they won't show it, but my whole screen went blank going into Canada corner there. So I was in the complete dark of whether I was going to end up through pit road into Max or even the leader at the time, just because of how everyone was closing up on that second to last lap there. But no, I'm really looking forward to Imola, another kind of track that in this nature, but hopefully, me and the rest of Halo Tracks Toyota will be in full strength.
Brilliant. Thanks for jumping in to speak to us in the post-race interview show, Nick. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, of course, I want to give a shout out to the Halo Tracks community. It is Halo Tracks is based on the Halo Master Chief Collection racing or not racing game, shooting game on Xbox and PC. We live the race almost every day of the week with the mongooses there. I want to shout out my teammate, pro golfer Jay Katz. He's out there swinging the clubs right now in a tournament. Had to miss this race, but I'm looking forward for him to come back for Imola. He's the one who got me into this car, and honestly, it's been a blast learning.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nick. We'll see you next week for round 6 at Imola.
Have a nice day, folks.
And last but by certainly no means least, back to winning ways, back to victory lane. Welcome into the booth, Adam Merchant. Adam, congrats on the W. 3 now on the board, and that helps you to expand your championship lead heading into the business end of this winter season.
Yeah, thank you. That was a tough race. I honestly thought JT had some really good pace when he was in my toe. But I just tried to save overtake and keep him behind at the final chicane. But fortunately, he got to slow down, and then I got him out of the toe and was able to concentrate a little bit more. But yeah, props to him. Good pace.
Yeah, which meant you didn't have to worry about using the P2P until a little bit later on in the race, just to make sure that gap was solidified. And more to the point, it meant that you won by 4.3 seconds after 31 laps. And that must give you a pretty good feeling heading into the business end. We've got 3 more rounds to go. Of course, 7 scores taken into consideration out of 8. So you must be feeling on cloud 9 at the moment.
Yeah, a bit for sure. That was good once I got JT out of the toe and I could see the gap increase. And I was definitely watching his gap with Elliott. So I could see they were battling. But I'm not going to be here next week, so that's going to be my drop round for sure. But 2 more rounds to make sure I keep it on the black stuff. But yeah, really excited.
Brilliant. Well, we're going to miss you next week at Imola, but we'll see you back for action at the Red Bull Ring. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Adam, before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to Elliott and JT for their pace today. They definitely raced really well, really clean. It's been really fun getting to know them in the official races throughout the week as well. Yeah, shout out to those guys.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Adam, for joining us. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you back for round 7 at the Red Bull Ring on March 2nd. Well done tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, JP, final thoughts before we close things off tonight here for Sim Racing for Simpletons.
Chaotic at the beginning, died in the middle, and then JT gave us some action at the end with Elliott caught. So, all in all, good racing from all.
Yep, next up we head back to Italy. So we had a Italian double header at the beginning of the season for rounds 1 and 2. We head back this time to Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari at Imola for race 6 out of 8. That will be taking place in just 7 days' time on February 23rd. And you've been watching all the action live here on the JP Broadcasting Network. A big thank you to all our drivers for taking part. A big thank you to you watching at home. And more to the point, you've been joining myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and James Parfitt on commentary. We'll be back with you in just 7 days' time. But until then, race hard, race fair. And if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.